or say exact translation is not possible. You know, exact translation is okay. For example, the small words are concerned like mat, cat, rat. Here you can give the exact translation because they're just plain words. So you can give translation. You can say mat means chatai, cat means billy, rat means chuha. But you do not always have these small words. These are just for the initial stages. Now at your stage, at the PG level, it's not easy to give you exact translation. I cannot teach you a poem in Hindi. No, it will lose its joy. We read poems for joy, for thrill. And if I'm teaching you a poem in Hindi, then the joy would be lost. The meaning would be lost. The intention of the poet would be lost. So a poem can only be taught in the same language it is written. Okay? Best be taught, I must say. The soul, dies. The poem is ruined if I teach you through the mother tongue. So, yes, I was telling you that as far as translation method is concerned, exact translation is not possible. Translation is indeed a very difficult task. It's not that easy. You will not ask any Tom, Dick and Harry to translate, say, a story into English. No, it's not that easy. It's very difficult. Exact translation from one language to another is often not possible. You do not have one-to-one correspondent because no two languages are the same. A language is a result of various customs, traditions, patterns, and modes of behavior of a nation. And since these traditions, patterns, and modes of behavior differ from nation to nation, there are many terms in other languages which cannot be exactly translated into another language. Okay, you cannot have one-to-one correspondent in another language because traditions are different, customs are different, cultures are different. That's why words cannot be translated from one language to another. You cannot have exact translation. Besides, the meaning of a word, which fits in one context may be out of place in another context. A word may not suit in all the contexts. For example, okay, I'm giving you let's take a word table. Table. Now the Hindi meaning of table, okay, this I don't know, because I teach at a higher stage, at a higher level, so I'm not that good at drawing. Teachers at the school level, they are good at they are good at drawing. So forgive me here. I apologize. So what is it? Maze. If I'm telling you maze, okay, you can understand it. And if I'm making it, then also you can understand it. But table doesn't mean maze all the time. Okay? It doesn't mean maze all the time. Table can be like timetable. Okay? The timetable that you have. Or say it can be table of contents that you have in a book. Table of contents. Or say table of figures that you have, or say even multiplication table, table of 2, table of 3, table of 4, multiplication table. So do you have this maze here in all these? No, you do not have. Or say timetable, this I said, or table the motion. Do you know what does it mean, table the motion? Table the motion means to propose something. Okay, when you propose something, you say that you use this phrase, table the motion. Okay, or say table the exam. Now what happened? Because of the pandemic, what happened? The exams were postponed. They were delayed. So this postponement, this delaying, this holding back to a later date, to a later time is called as table something, table the exam, table the meeting, or table the interview, or table the marriage ceremony, or whatever. This can be anything. So that's why it's not easy, you know, to have the exact correspondence, because they differ from context to context. How do why they differ from context? We can take another word. Okay, we can take another word. Now I'm taking dog. I don't need to tell you the meaning of the word dog. You know the meaning. Okay. Now, you know, I'll be telling you, a dog doesn't mean that dog. Okay, the dog doesn't mean that dog. I'm making cat instead of dog. But you understand that this is dog. Okay, this is not cat. Right? What is it? It's dog. So dog doesn't mean this animal. Okay, whether it's a wild animal or the pet animal, dog does not always mean the animal. Dog means many other things. For example, say, like what would you say? You know, the same dog, the animal dog here, does not fit in such expressions as dog days. Dog days. You know, because of the pandemic, what is going on? Dog days are going on. It's a kind of period of inactivity. People are not doing any creative work. Means, you know, they do not have the same routine they had in the normal times. They had earlier, I mean, before the pandemic. So what do you have? Dog days. You have dog days. Dog days means a period of inactivity. So do you have that dog there in this context? No, you do not have dog days. Or to go to the dogs. To go to the dogs. What does it mean? To go to the dogs? To become ruined. Okay? To go to the dogs mean ruined, destroyed. Like these days, even this news is there on television and also there in the newspaper, and there's a hue and cry there in the newspaper about it. The economy, you know, the economy is going to the dogs. Or say economy has gone to the dogs. What does it mean? The economy has gone to the dogs. That means it's ruined. The economy is ruined. So again, you do not have the same meaning, the animal meaning here. Or to dog one's steps. What is to dog one's steps?
To follow.
To follow, yes, very good. To follow. To dog one's steps means to follow. Yes, very right. Very good. To dog one's steps means to follow. To follow someone closely. Like, you know, the thieves could not escape. I mean, if I use it in a sentence, the thieves could not escape because the police were dogging their steps. The police were dogging their steps. Or how would let sleeping dogs lie? Let sleeping dogs lie. We had this idiom there in our pragmatics. Let sleeping dogs lie. So, do you have the meaning of dog this here in this idiom? Let sleeping dogs lie. No, you do not have. What does it mean? Let sleeping dogs lie. Means do not disturb a calm situation. If you do, then you are going to invite some problem. Okay, so it's better that let the sleeping dogs lie the way they are. Or nobody hits a sleeping dog for that matter. This also you must have heard. Nobody hits a sleeping dog. Means if you are not very successful, if you are passive, then nobody would care about you. People care. People, you know, like envy you. People feel jealous of you only when you are a big shot. So nobody hits a sleeping dog. So what I'm trying to say that you know the same meaning doesn't fit in all the context. So that is why translation is not that easy. Translation isn't that easy. Again, you know, like here, it's not only figurative use of, or say idiomatic use of certain words which present difficulty in translation, but English prepositions are also very difficult to translate. Prepositions cannot be translated. Have you ever tried? If you try, then you would find that these, like you know, you do not have that preposition there in the translation. For instance, your sentences such as my friends met me on the way. My friends met me on the way. How would you say? मेरे दोस्त मुझे रास्ते में मिले. रास्ते में मिले. But you're saying on the way, it means on the way, like something is on the table. So you should have been saying in the way. But if you say in the way, that would be wrong. So you cannot translate. You know, if you are translating literally from English into your mother tongue, or from your mother tongue into English, then you are going to make mistakes. So my friend met me on the way is the right expression, but you cannot explain the preposition why on, why not in. This is how the language is. Like he died of corona. So many people have died. Say around 50 lakhs, you know, in India have died of corona. So they died of corona. So do you have the meaning of this preposition of here? No. Otherwise, you know, like in Hindi you say 50 lakh log corona se mar gaye. So say mar gaye. So you will have they died from corona instead. But you are not saying from they died from corona, because that's wrong. That's wrong. The right preposition is of, but you cannot explain it. Or say he is laid up with swine flu. He is laid up with dengue. Now, up with these prepositions again are very baffling. You cannot translate them into Hindi. Or say I was under the impression. I was under the impression, as though you were under the table, or say under something, under a tree. I was under the impression. So it's a very right expression. There is nothing wrong in it. I was under the impression that he was a doctor, that he was a teacher, that he was an IS officer. I was under the impression. So under you cannot translate into Hindi. Or say she should have gotten here by now. She should have gotten here. Now this is slang, so I should say she should have been here. She should have been here by now. By now. By you know, we use in a different sense. But here by, it's used as a time preposition by now. So by you cannot translate again. In these expressions we cannot translate the prepositions, say on, or off, or up, or with, or under, or even by, literally. We cannot have the literal translations of these prepositions. Okay. So again, you know, I would like you to just revise. We have discussed some demerits, some disadvantages. What were they? That it is an unnatural method. Okay. And it's an unnatural method, and you cannot have exact translation of English words into Hindi. No languages are same. There are differences in the culture, in the traditions. That is why the translation is very difficult. Okay. And then what else we've discussed? Yes. Please come on. Do you remember? We discussed some merits. Yes, yeah. You know, like time is wasted. You know, it's wasteful. This method is wasteful. Why? Because even after learning English language through this method, the students do not gain confidence. So time is wasted. It's not only unnatural, it is a wastage of time also. Okay? It's a wastage of time also. And we have seen, and like pattern practice is not given in this method. Like speech is neglected in this method. The speech is neglected. The students do not learn how to speak in English, how to speak in the foreign language. Okay, speech is neglected. Pattern practice is not given. So these are the demerits, you know, that we have been talking about. And it is almost impossible, you know, to translate complex feelings, or say spiritual experiences, colloquial expressions, slangs, I mean, from one language to another. We do not understand slangs, you know, used by Americans and even the Europeans. Why? Because they are so different, and because they're so typical of, you know, the culture of one of a country. So there are slangs, there are some colloquial expressions in India also, which are very typical of Indian social milieu, Indian culture, Indian traditions. That's why they are very difficult to translate. Now, for instance, some Hindi words do not have exact correspondence of English. That means they do not have exact correspondence in English. Okay, how about this word? Can you translate it in? Can you tell me the English word for dhaba? Yes?
No.
No, you cannot. Well, because some people who are not from the North Indian state, from the Hindi-speaking state, for them I would like to tell you that dhaba is a Hindi word used to describe a roadside eatery. Okay, roadside eating place, mostly seen on highways in India. A typical dhaba would have course and chairs, cane chairs as seating arrangements, and people visit these dhabas and they have food. They relish dhaba food. Some are very fond of dhaba food. So dhaba is a roadside eatery, you may say. Oh, how about this? Can you tell me the English word for this? You have heard this word so many times. Okay, it's almost spoken every day. Jhutan. What is Jhutan? How would I tell a person from England and or say a person from America, or person who is not from India, Jhutan? You won't understand. Okay, this is so typical of India. The Hindi word, again I am telling for those who are not from the Hindi-speaking states, I'll be telling you. I will explain the words which I'm using here. Jhutan, Jhutan refers to an item that has been used or touched by someone else, say either with hand or mouth. I must say, even if you touch a chapati, even if you touch a dal, even if you touch a samosa or whatever, okay, once you have touched it, that becomes jhuta. Okay, this is how they say. Okay, and if you take a bite from it, if you just nibble it and keep it back, it becomes jhuta. Okay, and the utensils that you eat in, once you have left those utensils, they become jhuti utensils, jhuti thali. This is what jhutan is. Okay, this is what, and there's a story also, a very popular story, Jhutan. Jhutan is also used for a woman in that story, like who was not virgin, who was not chaste, who already had some relationship with a man, so she became Jhutan. Okay, so like you do not have the English equivalent for this word. Okay, why? Because the concept of Jhutan is so typical of Indian culture and society, isn't it so? And same, I'm reminded of Kanyadan, for example. Kanyadan. Now you do not have Kanyadan in European countries. The English, okay, they do not have Kanyadan in their weddings. They do not have this ceremony. So Kanyadan is a Hindu wedding ritual performed by the bride's father, and that basically means giving his daughter away to the groom. Because he gives away his daughter to the groom, it is called as Kanyadan. Okay, it's a Hindu wedding ceremony, a Hindu wedding ritual, Kanyadan, and this is so typical of Hindu wedding, which you do not find in other cultures. You do not have Kanyadan in say Muslims, you do not have Kanyadan in Christians, you do not have Kanyadan in Jews. This is so typical of Hindu weddings. And same again, when I'm talking about Hindu rituals, I am reminded of Rakhi also. Rakhi, Rakhi. I think make a picture. Rakhi. Okay, this is a beautiful. This is Rakhi is okay. This is something like this. Some home and all is written, something like that is written. Okay, Rakhi. So Rakhi, can you translate it into Hindi? In English, I mean, can you translate it? No, you cannot. Well, you can explain it, you can define it, you can say, well, it's a wristband. But the wristband, or the the bands that you have, friendship bands and all, wristbands, they do not give you that meaning. The meaning which is bound with the tradition, the Indian tradition, the Hindu tradition, you may say. Rakhi is the Hindi word for a wristband. Okay, no doubt, wristband or a string that sisters tie around their brothers' wrists. They tie around their brothers' wrists. It's a symbol of love from a sister to a brother, and a promise by a brother to protect his sister no matter what. Okay, no matter what. Yeah, I'm reminded of like Rakhi being given by Rani Karmati to Humayun, the Mughal emperor. Rakhi episode. Okay, that's associated with Humayun and Karmati, Rani Karmati. Okay, and this is symbolic of, you may say, communal harmony. And how about, like you must have heard this in Hindi movies, this word, although it's not very commonly spoken, but maybe it's spoken in villages and all. Kalmuha, Kalmuhi. Have you heard this? Kalmuha and Kalmuhi? Have you?
Yes.
Okay, well, it's great that you heard. Otherwise, many have not heard this word Kalmuha and Kalmuhi. Well, people who are not from the Hindi speaking state, for them I'm telling that the Kalmuha is not a standard word. It's not a standard word. It's a slang. Kalmuha is used for male and Kalmuhi is used for female. This is derogatory. In fact, it's a negative adjective for a person who is good for nothing. Somebody who's not good for nothing, for one who's stupid, or one who's considered as bad luck. Bad luck. Okay. If you happen to see him or her, then means that you are not going to have success in that area, for which you are going. Okay. Like suppose you are going for an interview and you happen to see a Kalmuha, then that is considered bad. Okay, a bad omen. So this is what Kalmuha is. So this is very typical of the North Indian culture. Okay. It's a North Indian slang, so you cannot have an English equivalent of this. And how about Ghamasan? Ghamasan, Yudh. We use it as an adjective, Ghamasan, Yudh. Battle, like, Battle of Panipat was a Ghamasan battle, or say Battle of Khanwa was a Ghamasan battle. So what is the Ghamasan now? Again, it's a Hindi word. You do not have the English version. Ghamasan can be described as something devastating, extremely serious, or to explain how deeply awry something is. This means, like devastating, yes, when you are using it in the context of battle. That the battle was a Ghamasan battle. That was a devastating battle. Okay? Yes. And how about, this is a very it's a Sanskritized word which is occurring to my mind. Jijivisha, yes. Jijivisha. This is the word I read, in a Hindi text while I was a student. Jijivisha means the intense desire to live and to continue living to the fullest, in the highest sense of being, you must say. If your desire for living like the kind of Jijivisha, we have Jijivisha in GB Shaw's plays, life force, you can say. Life force, the concept of life force which you have in GB Shaw, in Man and Superman, or say other plays, Candide and all. So that is Jijivisha. What is it? Intense desire to live and to continue living to the fullest. Means to love life, to enjoy it to the least is Jijivisha. Now, Jijivisha, again, you cannot translate into English. And so now, you find sometimes very cloudy, okay, because it's a rainy weather, rainy season. So, you have Ghata. Now, Ghata is a Hindi word. Do you have an English word for it? Ghata? I'm sorry, you won't be able to give me the English equivalent of Ghata. Ghata is so typical, Ghata, metaphorically, Ghata means dark, heavy clouds, black clouds, which bring rain. Clouds which bring rain, and that thing is called as Ghata. It expresses a feeling of a heart heavy with grief or pain also. Ghata metaphorically, means heavy heart. Okay, or say grief or pain, you may say. Yeah, and how about Adda 30? This is so common here in your city, and not here, even I think everywhere in the North Indian states. This is spoken very commonly. This is a commonly spoken word, adda, 30. Adda or 30, outside of a college, we have a 30. This is called Anandi ki 30. And outside the University of Rajasthan, we have 30. People just gather together. They have friends especially, and they have tea and snacks. Okay, that is called as 30. So Adda or 30 is simply a place where friends gather together to spend time and have fun. Okay, have fun. And it is a place where you would meet your friends every day or say regularly. It could be a restaurant or even a street corner. Mostly, it's a street corner. Boys, they gather together. Boys, I don't say girls. Boys gather together there on Adda or say 30. Now you cannot translate this into English. Yes, you cannot. And same you can say about Rasa, Navrasa. You cannot translate. That's how you know Navras. I don't need to explain it. This is like while you're talking about performance of arts, dance form, theaters now, cinema, you have Ras there, Ras Navras. Okay? Drodh Ras, Krodh Ras, and different Ras. You have 9 Ras. This cannot be translated into English. And a word which is very commonly used in Haryana, UP and Rajasthan is Jugaad. Isn't it? Jugaad. Jugaad, yeah. Even I didn't know. I learned this word very, recently. Jugaad. Now, Jugaad is typical of these states, these North Indian states. It's a colloquial word. It means to find the least expensive solution to something, or a make-do solution to a problem. Jugaad. So, like, jugaad ho gaya, something like this. Okay? So, what is it? It's the least expensive solution to some problem. It's called as jugaad. So, you do not have jugaad in English. Do you have? You do not have jugaad in English. Why? Because this is typical of the Indian culture, or say Indian people, you may say, Indian society. It is so typical of Indian villages, or say rural. This is a rural word. This is not spoken in urban areas. Jugaad. We don't use this word. I have not heard this. It is used in, say, small cities, you may say. Yeah. Or for example, words like Shirad, you do not have English equivalent. Or say, I had watched a movie. That was Dimple Kapadia's movie Rudali, for example. Okay. Rudali, you cannot translate into, you do not have, English equivalent of Rudali in Rudali. You do not have English equivalent of Uthawni. These are related with, these are, say, death rituals, you may say. Uthawni, Shrad, and Rudali. Rudali are just, who are Rudali? Rudalis are, say, women who gather to lament over the death of somebody. Rudali. And say Fatiha, for example, Fatiha are the recitation of holy verses that you recite when somebody passes away. Fatiha. You do not have English translation of Fatiha. You do not have English translation of Bismillah or say Shri Ganesh. When you begin something, although you have inauguration, but inauguration doesn't give you that sense which Bismillah gives or which Shri Ganesha gives. Why is it difficult? Because the cultures are, not the same. The traditions are not the same of the two nations. That's why it is difficult.